Alright, what's going on, guys? So today I'll take you back to Bowe versus Evander Holyfield. We're gonna look at the fight today and see some of the techniques that they demonstrated beautifully. This was one of the saddest fights that I've seen because I loved Holyfield. Despite of his dirty tactics, you know what I'm saying? He still gave us some exciting ass fights. So here we go today, and the first one that we're gonna look at is the jab counter that he demonstrated in the first couple of rounds over here. Bowe will start. Let me play it in slow motion once again. I always forget to do that. Okay, he's gonna throw a jab. Holyfield will parry it, and then he's gonna throw a jab back. And the reason why this works very well is because the motion of parrying your opponent puts them closer to you. So if you parry their left hand, their body will move forward as a result of that sideward parry that Holyfield did to Bowe. So if you see there, as Bowe threw the jab, Holyfield will parry it, and then it will almost bring the body of Bowe closer to the jabbing hand of Holyfield. So he was able to counter pretty easily. He didn't need to step in way too much because the motion of parrying that jab brings Bowe closer to the jab of Holyfield, okay? And it brings him to his front foot, which makes him closer to Holyfield. So again, here is gonna be the same thing. He's gonna do that sideward parry. And then here what's gonna happen is Bowe will try to gain momentum with his front foot by leaning over like this, leaning more to the left, okay? This will give him more momentum from his waist, more rotation, and then he's gonna try to throw that jab. But by doing that slight load up, he's gonna be more on his front foot, and now Holyfield can just take his head off the center, and then he's gonna counter with a jab of his own, two jabs in fact, and that's how that occurred. Now, as a result of that, Bowe has read this, and he was able to respond by baiting Holyfield into throwing that jab once again, and then countering accordingly. So here, what you're gonna see is, it's gonna be a jab first, jab, it's gonna be a jab, and then he's gonna throw a feint. He's gonna fake the jab, he's gonna fake the jab here, baiting Holyfield to throw a jab of his own, parry that, or overstretch his right hand, his rear hand, parry right there, and then he was able to throw a jab of his own, no problem. Here's another example of that. He's gonna bait Holyfield on throwing the jab again. As a result of him jabbing as well, parry, counter with the jab of his own, and then Bowe will counter that by slipping down or dipping down and then throwing a jab to the body, which fell short because on the second jab, Holyfield decided to step in right there, and then he pivoted right away, which made that jab of Bowe hard to land. Now on the inside, I want to point out one of the weaknesses of the cross guard, and one of the weaknesses of the cross guard is that it makes it vulnerable for body shots, and that's certainly what Bowe took advantage of in this fight, okay? Whenever Holyfield was using the cross guard, he was forced to go back to his high guard. Why? Because he was getting hit to the body. So here's the first example, okay? Here he's gonna try to hold the head of Bowe. Now what does this mean? This means that he is in the high guard position, because if it wasn't for that, you know what I'm saying? Without this left hand being on his chin or being down, without this left hand being down, you can never complete the cross guard position. So as a result of that, Bowe was able to see this, and he knew that whenever he threw an uppercut, there would be no right hand that will block the right uppercut of Bowe. So right there, he was just able to sneak in a right uppercut because there was no right hand to block that shot, okay? Holyfield was giving the impression that he was in a high guard because he was holding on to the head of Bowe. So as you can see here, he holds on to the head of Bowe, giving the impression that he is in fact in a high guard, because without this, if this left hand is not down, it means that you're not in cross guard, because in order for your cross guard to be completed, you need that left hand to be down. And then on top of that, it's gonna be your right hand. So over there, again, he was able to sneak in the right uppercut pretty easily, you know, no problem, and he was able to land it with no struggle whatsoever. Boom, okay. Here's another one. He's gonna try to hold on to the head of Bowe once again. Oh no, this one was different actually. This one was the left uppercut. And what he'll essentially do here is, again, as you can see here, he was able to just sneak in the left uppercut right there because there was no right glove to block it. The cross guard was pretty much dismantled because he started off by throwing a body shot. So you saw there, he threw a body shot, which forced Holyfield to keep his right glove on the side. And with that right glove out of the way, now he can throw a left uppercut and then sneak it in pretty easily right there. And then he was able to throw another uppercut. Because of how he took advantage of the opening, so the cross guard defense that Holyfield was using. Now again, here it's going to give the impression that he's in a high guard defense. He's going to hold on to the side of Bowe, and then as a result of that, the right hand of Holyfield being on the side gives the impression that he's not in a cross guard position. And what does that mean? You are open for the uppercut, because that's the main purpose of the cross guard, is to block the uppercuts and the hooks with ease. And if you're not in that position, it means that you're open for the uppercut, so that's what Bowe took advantage of here. So watch the right glove of Holyfield. It's giving the impression that he's not in the cross guard stance, he's not blocking, or he doesn't have a right hand to block the uppercuts up top. And that's why Bowe was able to sneak that in. Okay, now on the comeback of Evander Holyfield, what he's going to try to do is he's going to try to land the left hook on the inside, and then he's going to try to counter the right hand of Bowe by throwing a right hand of his own and then hooking with him at the same time. So over there he was able to do it. Over here he's going to try to do it again. Bowe will throw a right hand, and then he's going to try to throw a right hand with him. But here he's going to do a slight pause. So after Bowe throws the left hook, he was able to throw a left hook. And because Bowe's head was on the center, was remaining at the center, okay, he was able to take advantage of that. And he was able to land his punches while not being hit back, or while not being hit in return, because his head was not in the center. Okay, he was able to do his smothering tactics, which is quite ironic for a guy who has so many headbutts, you know what I'm saying? How the fuck can a guy with so many headbutts in his career keep his head off the center, you know? But he does it sometimes. So again, here he's gonna throw a right hand first. He's gonna lean over to the right shoulder of Bowe. And again, Bowe's head is on the center. Holyfield's head is not on the center. And as a result, Holyfield does not get hit while hitting Bowe and timing him on the way up. So he's going to start on the side, he's going to throw another right hand or an uppercut here. He's going to stay on the side once again, throw a hook, which Bowe will duck under him. And so that was it. Basically he was jabbing. No, that's not it. Okay, there's an adjustment that Bowe made at the late rounds. But that was pretty much the summary of the fight. Holyfield decided to jab all around. We're gonna look at the knockout later. He decided to jab in the early rounds. Switch it up once he heard the chants of the fans. Probably he heard the chants of the fucking fans, and then, you know, he probably decided to fight on the inside, which was a terrible decision because his cross guard was being broken down by Bowe pretty easily. So here's the knockout. Okay, Holyfield is again gonna throw a right hand. He's gonna try to hook with Bowe at the last second. So Bowe will throw a left hook, he'll throw a left hook as well. And then he's gonna throw a right hand, but watch what happens. Bowe decided to make a slight adjustment and not keep his head on the center as he throws the right hand. Okay, so two things here. Bowe already realized that Holyfield's head will be a little more on the left side, okay? On his left side, on Holyfield's left side. And in addition to that, he also knew that Holyfield was shooting at the center because his head was relatively at the center for most of the fight. So what Bowe decided to do is he decided to take it off, and then he decided to throw his punch at an angle which will eventually land on an angle where Holyfield's head will be, which is away from the center, a little more to his left. So go ahead and look at the replay for yourself so that we can kind of dissect this one by one, okay? So number one, Bowe already knew that Holyfield will shoot for the center. And then he already knew that he was going to exit to his left side, okay, to smother, to keep his head away from the firing range, or from the firing spot. And then as a result of that, Bowe will decide to keep his head off the center and throw his punch more to the side here. So as opposed to throwing it straight, he decided to throw more of a wider shot, which landed on the side of Holyfield, because that's where Holyfield's head will be, and Bowe already knew this in advance, so watch here. Number one, Bowe's head was not on the center no more, and number two, he placed his punch at an angle where Holyfield's head is presumed to be in after he throws the right hand. So look at this angle, boom. He already knew that Holyfield's head will be on the side, and he already knew that Holyfield will shoot a little bit more to the center. So he took his head off of there. And so that was it for this video. It was just a terrible game plan for Holyfield coming in. His conditioning wasn't right, and there were a lot of things that were not looking good for him in this particular fight. His stamina wasn't the same. But a year later, I think he decided to, or he faced Tyson and defeated him. So that's where Holyfield made his comeback and made a statement once again. So that was it. I'll see you guys soon. Subscribe if you're new. Join me on Patreon, and I'll see you guys. Peace.